Today's lesson is on converting rates. This is sometimes called dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis is the process of changing the unit of measurement without changing the value of the measurement. For example, changing the name of the unit of measurement from something like inches to miles or from centimeters to millimeters. We convert one rate to an equivalent rate by multiplying by a unit ratio, or we can multiply by the reciprocal of the unit ratio to change the name of a unit of measurement. So we convert one rate to another by multiplying by the unit ratio or a reciprocal of the unit ratio. Here's an example. A car is traveling at a speed of 65 miles per hour. We're going to use a conversion ratio to determine the speed in miles per minute. So in this example, we're changing from 65 miles per hour to miles per minute. So our first step is to set up the problem. We start by looking at the first rate that's given, and we have 65 miles per hour. We're going to leave a little space between here and the equal sign so that we can put in a conversion ratio. And we're changing this unit of measurement from hours to minutes. So 65 miles per hour, how do we change that to how many miles is this in a minute? We set up our conversion ratio by putting multiply and a line because we're going to be setting up a ratio. We label our ratio. This is where we have to look carefully at the names on our labels. Looking at the denominator, it's going from hours to minutes. So the bottom word is going to change from hours to minute, the bottom label. The top label is going to be hours. This is so that we can cancel out the label of hours. So this is very important that we label our conversion ratio carefully. Then we determine the numbers that would go with the ratio. In this example, this would be 60 minutes for 1 hour. So we put 1 for hours and 60 per minutes. Now we're going to cancel out the unit labels. So notice hours and hours can cancel out. Now we've just been able to change our name to minutes as our denominator. We multiply across. 65 times 1 is 65, and 1 times 60 is 60. And last we divide. When we divide 65 by 60, we get 1.08 miles per minute. Here's another example. The length of a ribbon is 12 centimeters. How long is the same ribbon when measured in inches? So we have a conversion ratio here. 1 inch is equivalent to 2.54 centimeters. So we start by writing 12 centimeters and then setting it equal to how many inches. So our conversion ratio is going to have inches on the top and centimeters on the bottom. This is so we can cancel out centimeters and change the name to inches. Using our ratio that was given, we're going to plug in our numbers. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters as given in the problem. Then we multiply across and cancel out the unit labels. Centimeters cancel out, and we're left with 12 divided by 2.54. Put that in our calculator, and we see that 12 centimeters is equivalent to approximately 4.72 inches. Here's another example. An object is traveling at a rate of 176 feet per second. How fast is this in miles per hour? So we start by setting up our ratios. We're going to have 176 feet per second and set that equal to some number of miles per hour. Notice in this problem we have two names that are changing. The numerator is changing from feet to miles, and the denominator is changing from seconds to hours. So we need two conversion ratios. We're going to have two conversion ratios. That's why we have multiplied line, multiplied line. Okay? Now let's look at the top value. We're changing from feet to miles. So we're going to put miles on the top because that's what we want it to become, and feet on the bottom. This way we're going to be canceling out feet. So if we plug in those numbers, we see 1 mile is 5,280 feet. This was given in the problem. Now look at the bottom numbers. We're going from seconds to hours. So we want to put hours on the bottom and we want to put seconds on the top. This is so that we can cancel out the seconds. So let's plug in our numbers now. There's 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. Next we can cancel out our units of measurement. Cancel out the unit labels. So feet cancel out and seconds cancel out. This is how we know we're ready to multiply across. We're going to multiply 176 times 3,600, and we get 633,600, and on the bottom we have 5,280. We put all this in our calculator, and we see that 176 feet per second equals 120 miles per hour. In that problem, we had two conversion ratios that we needed to multiply. The most important part here is making sure that we set up our labels correctly before multiplying across. Example 4. An object is traveling at a rate of 900 feet per hour. How fast is this in centimeters per second? So we're going from feet per hour to centimeters per second. Again, we're going to set up our problem with our first ratio of 900 feet per hour, and this time we have two names that are changing. So we need to set up two conversion ratios. Feet is becoming centimeters, and hours is changing to seconds. So we need two conversion ratios. So let's look at the top. For feet to become centimeters, we're going to label centimeters on the top and feet on the bottom so that we can cancel out feet. The denominator, hours, is going to be changing from hours to seconds, so we put seconds on the bottom and hours on the top. Next, we use the numbers that they gave us in the problem. As you see, 1 foot is 30.48 centimeters, and 1 hour is 3,600 seconds. So we're going to cancel out our labels, cancel out hours and feet, since those are cross-reduced. Multiply across. 900 times 30.48 equals 27,432. And the denominator is 1 times 3,600. So now we have 27,432 divided by 3,600, and we get 7.62 centimeters per second. So we set up our unit ratios, unit conversion factors, based on how many names are changing. Then we cancel out our unit labels, multiply across, and simplify. In summary, we can convert one rate to an equivalent rate by multiplying by a unit ratio or its reciprocal. This is how we change the name of the unit labels. To convert one unit name to another, set up our conversion ratios, label the conversion ratios carefully so that we may cancel out and rename the unit labels, multiply across, and simplify. Last but not least, make sure you label the answer correctly. And that's all.